So good morning, everyone. So first I would like to thank the organizers for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm interested in the... yes, thank you. In the development of model in order to study grain surface chemistry in general. And so today I will present you a new framework that I have been developing in collaboration with Uma Gorti at NASA Ames in order to study grain surface chemistry in protoplanetary disks. And so I will focus on the production of organic molecules in these disks. So protoplanetary disks are characterized by strong gradients of temperature, density, and irradiation. Also some important processes of transport of the solids in the disk. So the small dust tend to settle into the disk midplane, eventually grow, form planet, and drift toward the central object. And also, when we talk about chemistry in disks, we usually distinguish between three main regions in the disk. The PDR region here, which is this region here, that's directly irradiated by the star. So we mainly have atoms and ions in this region. And so as you go deeper into the disk, you then have an efficient attenuation of the UV field, which allows the development of a complex gas phase chemistry. So you will form molecules as you go deeper, and so as you have an attenuation of the UV field. And eventually, in the outer part of the disk, where the temperatures are low enough, you will condense most of these molecules at the surface of the grains, and so have a development of a complex grain surface chemistry. So I will talk about this mainly in the outer part of the disk and in cold regions where you can form complex molecules. So far, not a lot of molecules have been detected in disks. We have 25 molecules that have been observed as compared to almost 200 molecules in the interstellar medium. We have the detection of two complex organic molecules, methyl cyanide and methanol. Methanol is important because we think that methanol is indicative of an active grain surface chemistry in disks, just because we don't have any efficient formation pathway for this molecule in the gas phase. We don't know any of them. And so the only way we are able to explain methanol is by having a grain surface formation. So it is interesting to make the link with what we observe in our own solar system, so especially in primitive bodies. And I think Rosetta, the mission Rosetta is a good example, which have been around the comet 67P. And in situ measurements have revealed a great diversity of molecules at the surface with abundances that are quite important. We are talking about abundances ranging from 0.1 to 1% relative to water being the main constituent of these objects. And so the question here is, what is the link between the chemistry in protoplanetary disks and the molecular complexity we observe in primitive bodies, such as asteroids or comets? Unfortunately, we have few observational constraints on the composition of ices in disks, except for few molecules like water, CO, and CO2. And so it turns out that numerical simulations are quite helpful to address this kind of question. So I will present a new framework that we have been developing with Uma Gorti, which couples a thermochemical disk model and a full gas grain chemical model in order to address this question of the link between these two. So we use the thermochemical disk model to compute the structure of the disk, so the 2D structure of the disk. And to do so, you need to solve iteratively the thermal balance, so the heating and the cooling in the disk here. So I show you just here some example for the main heating terms and main cooling terms as a function of the altitude in the disk at a fixed radius. You need to couple this with the chemistry because the cooling, for instance, is dominated by molecules, and also to treat the radiative transfer. So by doing so, by solving after some iterations, you can get the 2D structure of the disk. So for instance, here the temperature, but also for the density. What we do then is that we use this structure to compute the grain surface, to make some predictions on the composition of the ice and the impact of the grain surface chemistry on the composition of the gas phase. So for that, we use a time-dependent three-phase chemical model that I have been developing during my PhD thesis. So three-phase here stands for the fact that we make a clear distinction between the processes happening at the surface and in the mantle of the ice. So we solve for accretion of the molecules at the surface. Molecules can then diffuse at the surface, meet, and eventually react to form more complex molecules. We also have a surface and subsurface photoprocessing, which is taken into account by stellar and interstellar photons, as well as cosmic rays photons. And some desorption mechanisms that are restricted to the surface. So we have thermal desorption and two non-thermal desorption mechanisms, which is the photodesorption and the chemical desorption. So the idea of the chemical desorption is when you have a reaction that is exothermic, the idea is to use part of the exothermicity to make the product desorb into the gas phase. So now I would like to show you some results based on this framework. So we'll consider a very general disk model, a disk orbiting a sun-like star with a mass that is roughly similar to the mean disk mass derived from two surveys in the torus and in Lupus regions. So here I'm showing you the density structure of the disk so as a function of the distance to the star in AU and the altitude in the disk. So here you have the density, the gas temperature. G0 is a measure of the local UV field in the disk, which provides the ionization. And so you have here the geometrical cross-section of the grains, the dust temperature, and the cosmic ray ionization rate. So here I will focus on those regions here, regions that are characterized by low temperatures where grain surface chemistry is important. Just would like to point out that, G0 here, the UV field G0 of 1 is the mean interstellar radiation field. So this is the radiation field you have in the interstellar medium in general. And I just would like to point out that in this region, especially in the outer disk, but also at the boundary between the warm molecular layer and the mid-plane, we have some photons that can penetrate, and this will have an impact on the chemistry. So here are the main ice compounds that we predict with the model. So I'm showing you here the abundance maps for several molecules as a function of the distance from the star, but here is the altitude weighted by the distance from the star, so it's easier to see the inner region of the disk. So we predict that water is the main ice compound. Then we have other molecules like CO2, CH4, methanol, and other molecules like HCN or sulfur compounds as well. And actually here you can see the photoprocessing of the ice in CH4, where we have a slow in the outer disk, we have a slow conversion of CO2 ices and methanol ices into CH4 because of the photoprocessing happening at the surface of the ice. We also predict some more complex molecules. We predict that these molecules are mainly efficiently formed in the inner disk. And this has to do with the fact that in the inner disk, the dust are relatively warm. They are closer to the star. The star is in 0, 0. And so we have an efficient radical diffusion at the surface, which lead to the formation of these molecules by reaction between these radicals. And also there is an important point, is that in the inner disk, so below 100 AU, the UV field is relatively low, so it allows to the accumulation of these molecules at the surface, and they are not efficiently destroyed by the photons. Something interesting here also is that all these molecules have abundances that are ranging from 0.1 to 1% relative to water, which is in good agreement with what was derived, for instance, in 67P, the comet. It is interesting also to have a look at what we predict for gas phase, because what is the impact of this efficient grain surface chemistry on the gas phase, because this is what we observe, for instance, when we use instruments like ALMA to observe these objects. And so we find that most of the molecules that are efficiently produced at the surface of the grains have enhanced abundances here near the water condensation front. So this is where you form your ices. And this is because in this region you have a lot of photons, and so you have an efficient photoprocessing of the ice. So here we form, for instance, water by photodesorption of water from the grains, but also we have an efficient chemical desorption because we have a continuous formation-destruction cycle that operates at the surface, in which you will photodissociate molecules and reform them, giving a chance to dissolve these molecules into the gas phase. So here we have an announcement for C2H. Here C2H is in this region is the C2H that is produced in the PDR layer, so in much higher layers, so in the high altitude of the disk. So we also predict some ring-like structures for molecules such as formaldehyde and methanol. Ring-like structures have been observed for molecules like formaldehyde in disks. And the reason for this structure in our model is because formaldehyde and methanol are more subject to temperature variations in their formation path. And they tend to form more efficiently at low temperature. For more complex molecules, we predict that all these very complex molecules that form in the inner disk have low gas phase abundances. And this has to do with the fact that these molecules form in shielded regions. So you don't have any photodesorption, for instance, at work. And the dust are not warm enough to have an efficient thermal desorption of these molecules. We could have some other processes at work, such as the vertical transport of the ice in the upper layers of the disk. But this is not taken into account into the model yet, and so we are planning to now to include those transport of ices in order to see if we can enhance these molecules into the gas phase and possibly detect them with ALMA. So here are my conclusions. So we predict that ice mainly consists of simple compounds, such as water, methane, methanol, or other molecules. We form very efficiently complex, more complex molecules in the inner disk, with fractions reaching 0.1 to 1% relative to water very easily. And so this is because in those regions dusts are warm, so you have an efficient diffusion of the radicals at the surface, and also the medium is well shielded by from the FUV photons, so it allows those molecules to accumulate at the surface of the grains. As you have seen, grain surface chemistry impacts the composition of the gas. The main ice compounds are efficiently dissolved into the gas phase by non-thermal processing. And the large molecules have low gas phase abundances. And this is because where they form, the UV flux is relatively low, and so you don't have any way to desorb them into the gas phase. And we could have other mechanisms such as the vertical transport, but this will be done soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we have time for one question.
Ralph Woodard's McMaster. I was just wondering if your ice lines, say the methane ice line, or further out of the disk, what happens there to your chemistry?
So here, here we are not tracing the methane ice line. The methane ice line is here, actually. Here you don't have a lot of methane because most of the methane has been used to form these complex molecules. There is some methane left, as you can see, but the methane ice line is around here, around 20 AU. And so in that case, this is a thermal desorption. You reach the point where the dust are warm enough to desorb all the methane into the gas phase, just because it doesn't stick anymore at the surface.
Just a clarification, how are you defining inner disk? Does that mean inside the water snow line?
No, so inner disk here is it's just because we observe, so I define the inner disk. It's my definition. It's 100 AU. I define it to be at 100 AU because we see for this disk, we see most of the changes in the chemistry. But when we talk about inner disk in general from observational point of view, it's more like 10 AU, where you see the snow lines. But for me, when I use the term inner disk, that was 100 AU because in this region here, you have the grains that are low in temperature, so lower than 15K, and so there is some changes in the chemistry.
You said 100 AU, right?
For me, yes, here.
Okay, that's not usual for these.
Yeah, I know. But this is to illustrate the results.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Maxime. Please thank again our speaker.